Question is, and of course this is very timely coming out for the holiday where we saw fires in Honokaihale on this end and out in East Oahu and Kalama Valley. Should the City Council choose to approve a ban on personal use of fireworks, what would you do if mayor? Would you veto or sign that measure?
Thanks, Josh. You know, growing up in Waipahu and Hilo, I have to say I popped my fair share of duck brand, Roman candles, penny rockets, and had a lot of fun doing it. I think we're pretty safe. But as mentioned by others too, we are a unique place compared to the rest of the United States. And we're defined by our culture and our historic values. And part of that is the fact that we celebrate New Year's very, very different than anywhere else in America. And I think that defines us as a people. And I think it's something that we got to take into account and respect and enhance, that we don't want to become like everywhere else. Having said that, I do believe that there has to be stronger enforcement, both in terms of importation, in terms of aerial rockets that starts fires like in Kamehameha Ridge last week. Those things are unacceptable, where you're putting the public at risk. And I think that those kinds of laws need to be strengthened and enforced better. I'm not as certain about an all-out ban. I'm open and I've been listening and will continue to do so. But I want to make sure that I'm respectful of the place that we all come from. Whether we're from here or came here, we know how unique we are. As I sit here looking out at all of you, we're a sea of brown. We're so multicultural and so diverse. And we need to continue to honor that diversity. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Owen. Well, I have the privilege of being able to vote on the bill, and in its current form, I plan to vote for it. So as mayor, yes, I would sign the bill that I vote for. One of the things that I want to make sure that we address are specific cultural events. We need to figure out how we're going to come up with a permitting process for specific cultural events. Thank you.
Thank you, short and sweet. Mr. Pedros.
Right, his brevity is appreciated, and my answer will be short too, and in fact I have to stick to it because Deputy asked me this question like half an hour ago. So, what is my position on fireworks? We need to work on it. As mayor, what I will do is that I will ban the fireworks for July the 4th, 2011. We need to see how that plays out. We need to see how the community responds. Then at that point, I will work with the council of the time, HFD and HPD to craft a permanent solution. I don't think we should just sit here and litigate one way or another. Just do a one-time experiment and see how the community reacts. Thank you.
Right now, before the City Council, we have an issue called fireworks, whether to ban it or to ban some sort of use of fireworks. You know, fireworks can be dangerous if it's properly used by anyone. It's like driving an automobile. If you don't drive carefully, it can be a danger element. Believe me, I know. When I was going to college back in the 1970s, mid-70s, I got into a car accident. The person ran right in back of my father and myself, and I was a passenger. I almost ended up going to the windshield wiper, on windshield. And what happened, that person was speeding, basically, misuse of the car. Now, I'm not in favor of total ban of fireworks, and let me tell you why. Because we live in a multicultural land, a land of different heritage and cultures, religious practices. And so it happens, to be honest with you, I'm Chinese, and in my culture and heritage, we have used fireworks. Used fireworks at the cemeteries to honor and worship our ancestors during the month of April, as an example. We use firecrackers in terms of chasing away the bad, evil spirits and bringing the good spirits to our home, such as that. We're very culture-oriented here in Hawaii. So let's not interfere in our cultural practices and religious beliefs. Well, I'm in favor of having youth banning certain type of fireworks like areas, but we've got to have it permanent, not just arbitrary use. Thank you.
The problem with fireworks is enforcement. The problem is the areas. The problem is the ones that are already illegal. The difficulty is getting that through the courts in a criminal prosecution. You virtually have to see the person light it, which they're not going to let you do if they know they're doing something is illegal, to be able to prosecute them right now. What we're trying to do, and the police department is doing, is to get an expert in fireworks so that we can sit there and say that whatever mechanism was used was clearly and unequivocally an illegal firework. And then you got to try and figure out how to tie it to that person. It's not real easy. They say, let's do the test on the hands. Well, if you do that with everybody in the area, they're all going to have that on their hands because they've all been playing with the smaller fireworks. But once you get that person, once you find who that is, if you're successful in getting them, then you make darn sure you're in front of a judge who's going to make their life miserable for at least a year, including incarceration. You get an example, and then you can start dealing with the problem. If you don't have that example, there's no teeth in the law. But you make sure that when it goes, that you're going to be able to, one, find them very, very guilty, get them in very, very much trouble with the law, and, oh, by the way, take a look at maybe a little civil action against them, too, for all harm and misery that they caused. Spoken like a true prosecuting attorney.